Hi guys, welcome back to the channel as Jignesh here, and I've got Abby with me. We're back with the World Cup roundup. Abby, how you been?
Good man, how are you doing?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. Just currently, just as we speak, watching the game, Australia versus Pakistan. Any thoughts initially
Yeah,
to start
exactly.
off with?
Not talking about employers, but the World Cup, brings the productivity down for sure. Because half the time you're watching the cricket.
Yeah,
But no, uh, I think it's coming out to be an interesting game, and Pakistan's actually on track. I watched the end of Australia's innings, and my God, they messed that up for sure. Like, and it goes to we were talking about this. I'm not convinced about Australia's batsmen. Steve Smith again, another low score, and then Labuschagne at the end just couldn't hit the ball. He couldn't get it off the square. Um, so I think Australia have a slightly under par total for what they were going to, that what they initially could have got to, and they kind of just gave the momentum to Pakistan a little bit. So I think Pakistan is looking good, but another one or two wickets will seal the deal. I think for Pakistan or
yeah.
Australia.
My initial thoughts on that game was obviously good start. Warner got an early life as well.
Yeah,
And I think he was dropped on 22 and now he's converted big. So after
yeah,
that, we saw them lose at least, it was what, 259 for one. So
yeah,
they scored 100 runs for the next nine wickets. So
yeah,
it's been the tail, what we've been speaking about, none of the middle order this time around. The batters stepped up, which was good to see. But without the life, I think it would have been a different scorecard.
yeah,
Uh, I like I like their tactical way of the way when Haris Roth came in his first over, they just went for it. Yeah, I think he went for 24 in his first over.
hmm,
So they attacked from the front. So I thought that was pretty positive on that side.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think they just missed a trick. Warner kind of brainless batting to get out in the back end of the innings, but other than that, you can't really fault Australia. They did quite well. But I think, Warner should have taken a bit more responsibility, got Australia up to the 400 mark. Warner could have got to 200 himself. So there
yeah,
was something in it. But yeah, we'll see how that game turns out.
yeah. And as Pakistan have chased so far, their openers played well. So looking at it, it's going to be a tight one. To be honest, we'll just move on from Pakistan. We'll go back to the India game, the India Bangladesh game, and what were your initial thoughts regarding
Man,
yesterday's Kohli's masterclass?
Kohli. That's all that's going through our heads all day. But yeah, I mean, Kohli's, masterclass of getting 100. Taking all the last 20 runs for himself, so that he could get to a century. But I think the real winner of that game is the umpire, for not giving wide when India needed to win. Um, but no, it was just another pretty dominant display from India. None of the batsmen were troubled, and it's like we've been saying until now. Every single one of India's batsmen is getting runs. Shubman Gill comes in, second game he's been playing after literally having dengue, and scores a 50. So he's just getting into things, and it's like we said. I remember in our initial World Cup preview, it said, if players like Shubman Gill, Shreyas Iyer, if they score runs, that's almost like a bonus because Rohit Sharma, Kohli are already scoring big runs. So, I mean, India seem near perfect. Bumrah's bowling Yorkers, getting wickets. Jadeja's flying around, taking catches. Getting wickets as well. Just everybody's playing their part, and yeah, it looks a strong, dominant performance from India. And Bangladesh kind of are just lost. Like they don't know
Yeah,
how to cope really.
I think it followed a similar pattern where the two openers got them the start, and then no one really stood up after that. So
Yeah,
I think once the
yeah,
spinners came on, I think India just
yeah.
ate into Bangladesh's middle and lower order. So
I
it was
think
just a
that's
bit
one
disappointing to
thing.
see, considering the start that they had. when
Yeah,
both those openers, I think they put up about hundreds, 93 odd,
yeah,
and for them to just get skittled out for
yeah.
256, it's below
But
par.
I think this is India's advantage in this tournament, and New Zealand as well. I think the real reason that these two teams are good, there's two, is both of them have good spinners and both of them have good middle order batsmen that can play the spinners. So the momentum of the openers never dies for either of those teams. Even with New Zealand, players like Daryl Mitchell come in later in the innings, Tom Latham, Glenn Phillips, and they're still accelerating and scoring. And the same with India, Kohli, KL, Rahul, Shreyas Iyer, they're still scoring even after the openers. So with the other teams, whenever the spinners come on in the middle overs, the game just slows down completely, and that puts the pressure on the team, and that ends up bringing wickets. Whereas with India and New Zealand so far, that hasn't happened. And the games that South Africa won, it was the same story. The middle order was scoring runs.
Yeah, and I would like to special thanks to Rahul, who hasn't. If you notice the three games India have played, I think he's been not out in all the games,
Yeah,
and the way he just let Kohli get to that milestone, he's pretty much a selfless cricketer. If you
yeah.
look at it, what do you think of that initially there?
Yeah, I mean, it's the other thing, right? Like everybody's playing for the team, and because they all know their role, they all know that they'll get a chance to shine when the time comes, that they're all part of a team. They're not like an extra player. They're all required. So, like against the Australia game, Rahul had his moment to score the century himself in the chase. Unfortunately, he timed the ball too well and
Yeah,
couldn't get a century, but he recognized that this time it's Kohli's chance, so he's gonna stand back and let Kohli do it. So it's very selfless cricket from the team, and that brings everybody together. And I think that's something that is a really good sign for India going forward.
yeah. I think the milestones. If the win's easier, you may as well let someone get the
Yeah,
milestone as well.
yeah,
I know they
I
say that
think
milestones don't really count, but
yeah,
it's a big 100, considering it's number 48 for
48,
Kohli.
yeah,
So you would want to get the 200s within this World Cup. So
yeah,
and just boost his confidence as well. His
the
confidence as well. And
semi-final
I
and
think
final.
yeah. And the one downside of that game, I think Pandya's injury and he misses out on the New
Yeah,
Zealand game from what we're hearing.
yeah.
Did you
But
see
the
that
thing is,
injury or
this gives a chance to the rest of India's squad while still in the group stage to try to, you know, um, get experience in pressure games. The India New Zealand game is going to be the team of the top two. I don't think, considering that other teams have now lost a few games, I don't think it really decides if they go forward or don't go forward. But I mean, it's just kind of, I think it's potentially a preview of what the final may look like.
yeah, or one or two. Position number one and two is just interchanging
Yeah.
between
Yeah,
them
but
two. I think
in
they'll
this
both
World Cup,
qualify.
that doesn't really matter because if you're one
The
or two,
top
you
four.
still have to play a final and you still
Yeah,
have to play a semi-final. It's not like
yeah.
in the IPL and other tournaments where position one
You
goes
get the
straight to
second
the
bite of the
final.
cherry.
Yeah. So in this tournament, as long as you're in the top four, I think you have an equal chance to getting to the final. Really, it doesn't really make any difference.
Yeah. Who do you see coming instead of Pandya?
Instead of Pandya, I think there's been a lot of talk. So they potentially might go for another seamer in Mohammad Shami, but I think Ashwin would be the most reasonable choice to come in. He's a decent batsman and he gives a solid bowling option, whereas they already have a player like Shardul Thakur bowling pace in the middle. So it's either that Ashwin comes in and Thakur goes out and Shami comes in, or they just bring straight replacement. Ashwin comes in. I don't see them too much of a different change, to be honest, because India's batting has been quite strong. So I don't think they'll necessarily look to increase that batting at the expense of a bowler.
Yeah, I think Shardul and Ashwin do not work personally together
Mm,
in the team. So I think they'll probably go for Mohammad Shami as the extra bowler maybe.
yeah.
And considering they're playing in Dharamshala, so I don't think they're gonna get the spinner in. Like they're
Mm,
gonna get that straight like for like change. Obviously, it'll weaken the batting, but it'll be good to see how It'll just try. It'll just we'll see how well the batting can do without a Pandya. And yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
uh,
I mean, to be honest, Jadeja hasn't even batted yet in this tournament, and Pandya's batted once. So so far, it doesn't seem like it'll really make much of a difference. But against New Zealand, you might want a little bit of a longer batting lineup. But I think India will back themselves.
yeah. I think the main matchup from my side would be the two opening bowlers of New Zealand, Bolt and Henry, versus how it'll be interesting to see how Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill go for play them out as well. Do you have anything to say about that?
No, I'm not really concerned. Bolt's not been bowling particularly well. Um, Henry's been bowling well, but I mean, I don't really see it as much of a matchup. It's just a good bowler, and uh, both the batsmen have not been troubled by any particular style of bowling. So I don't think it'll be like a direct matchup in that sense. But I mean, it's a good bowler, and the batsman will just have to face him, um, and play the ball on its merit. I think. In terms of Bolt, I don't think he's been bowling particularly well in this tournament. He's not been very threatening, um, and he's getting most of his wickets in his second or third spells. So I don't think that will be much of a concern for the openers either.
Yeah. Do you see India taking it again against New Zealand?
I think I think it's hard to say. I feel confident that India is playing good cricket enough to take it, but I think it depends on the day. Whichever team spinners bowls better, I think will take the game.
Yeah. Okay. We'll just move on to our last game, which is pretty much an important game, the England South Africa game. I think it's in Mumbai, so you'd
Mhm.
expect a pretty much a high scoring game.
Yeah,
Both teams do need the win. England probably more than South Africa. What's your thoughts about that?
yeah. I think that this game is kind of like battle for the remaining positions now. I think
Yeah,
England lose this game. It'll be tough for them to kind of claw their way back into the tournament. And England really kind of need this win just from a mental standpoint as well. And then kind of with South Africa, just because they've won a few more games, they could still make their way back, but it'll be also important from a mental standpoint for them. So I think this is really kind of like a mental game for both teams to prove to themselves that they can kind of get back and be a force in this World Cup. Um, so I think it'll be an interesting game. I mean, South Africa has been on form until the last game, so I think South Africa still has a good chance to go forward. And considering that South Africa spinners are better than England spinners, I think South Africa still has the edge, in my opinion. But as you said, it's going to be an important game, and I think whoever handles the pressure more will come out on top. So, but I give the edge to South Africa.
considering where they're playing, Mumbai traditionally fast bowling friendly, like wickets and
Yeah.
this high scoring ground. Would
Hmm.
you make changes and would you have more fast bowlers in your team, or do you
I,
stick with the spin and what's done well for South Africa?
honestly, there's a lot. Like Mumbai is a good bouncy wicket, but having a good spinner that can make use of that bounce is probably a little bit more valuable than just replacing them with a quick bowler. You want variation in your attack. You can't just go in bowling the same things again and again, especially in a one-day game where with the white ball it doesn't move as much, it doesn't seem as much. Just quick bowling can be lined up. So I think South Africa should stick to at least having Maharaj. You can't just switch him out. Um, and yeah, I think it's important to keep that spinner in the game, in the attack. Uh, in India, a spinner is always useful. You're always going to get a bit of turn. And though Mumbai is a bouncy wicket, it does turn. So it's important to have spin bowlers there.
I think I agree with that. I think even
Yeah.
Shamsi would be good because He's a bit of a mystery type of spinner.
Yeah,
So I
and
think
especially
they have
against
to play
England.
their strength.
Yeah, I mean, especially against England, the spin is a weakness, especially any type of mystery spin. So it's better to kind of have that in your attack than not.
Yeah, and for England, would you bring Moeen Ali back in
Yeah, I think
because
I
they
would
missed out the trick?
be back in, especially at the expense of someone like Sam Curran, for example. You know, Curran's not really been bowling well at all. He's not been effective. He's not even been quick enough. Um, and also his batting has not fired at all, you know. So I think Moeen Ali, even just as bolstering the batting, will be a bit helpful. And like I said, Mumbai is a bouncy wicket, so Moeen Ali giving the ball a rip, you know, bowling with lots of overspin would extract bounce from that wicket, and it would be difficult to play him rather than Sam Curran, who's not the tallest bowler either, and maybe he's not going to be able to bowl bouncers and things and really make use of the wicket. So potentially Moeen Ali could be definitely an option for England to come in.
Yeah, like we said, I don't think England can afford to play a Wilkes and a Curran together
Hmm.
because in Mumbai, being that bouncy wicket, you need an out and out right fast bowler or a spinner who's brings something different. So
Hmm.
you don't want a one pace attack. At least you
Yeah,
have a lot more variety when Moeen Ali comes in. Where do
exactly.
you see this one heading for?
Yeah, as I mentioned, I think South Africa has the edge, but I think England, Ben Stokes might come in as well. So I say South Africa has the edge tactically, but I think just from a mental standpoint and handling the pressure, you know, I think England has the edge on that side. So it's really even. But if you're gonna make me pick between one team, um, I think South Africa will take this one.
Yeah. Now, I agree with you with the IPL experience, and a lot of their players are played in this current stadium and at current situation time. So I'll lean towards South Africa as well, considering England's wars against spin. So I think they'll try and exploit that. Yes, that brings us to the end. We will catch you after these matches, and we'll do a review then. Yeah. Thank you for your time. Thank you everyone for tuning in, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, Abby. Have a great weekend.
See you guys.
See you. Bye bye.